Hi, and welcome to We the People podcast show. I'm Karina Schmidt, and I'm here today with John Labriola from the Christian Family Coalition. Hi, John. How you doing? Thank you for coming on the show. Brand new show.
Cool. Hi, Karina. Thank you for inviting me.
You're most welcome. Um, John, tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what is the work of the Christian Family Coalition for those that are not familiar with your organization.
Well, my name is John Labriola, and I am a lobbyist and representative for the Christian Family Coalition, which is a statewide organization that lobbies in Tallahassee on issues to promote family values, but also to respect people's religious liberties. And the session, of course, as you know, is over now. It's basically a part-time legislature, so we're not in Tallahassee anymore. We've gone from Tallahassee to now working the county commissions and the school boards throughout the state because we are a statewide organization. We don't only function in Tallahassee, we also work to advance our principles in individual counties through county commissions, through county school boards, and individual city commissions when that is appropriate as well. So that's basically what we are. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I I do, in fact, because one of the things that I'd like to talk to you about today is I'd like to introduce to our voters, because it is election time, I'd like them to understand more profoundly what the baby Olivia matter here in Florida is about. And it kind of died in the Senate, we can say that. But what is it that people should know about it? Because it has not died as a matter that we need to focus on, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So, Baby Olivia, for people that are not familiar, is a video that was produced by Live Action. That's a pro-life national organization, and it shows what how a fetus develops in the womb from conception all the way to 9 months in different stages. And it's a video that they produced designed to show students in schools, get grades 6 through 12, what happens and how a baby develops and how basically it's not a clump of cells. So this particular video has been adopted into various state curriculums, including Tennessee, I think South Dakota, and several other states. And so Florida, the legislature introduced the bill last year and again this year for Florida to have the same requirement for schools in grades 6 through 12. Unfortunately, although it passed the House, it was killed in the Senate, and it was basically because we have some rhino senators who are in key positions that they can block any bills that they don't like. And one particular senator, her name is Alexis Calatayud. She's from the Miami area, and she doesn't like this kind of stuff, I guess, because she is more on the pro-abortion side. And so she blocked it being on one of the key committees, which is the Education Committee, which is almost evenly divided. There's one or two more Republicans than there are Democrats. And so if one Republican goes to the Democrat side, it basically kills a bill. So the bill is not heard in that committee because they try to avoid being embarrassed by seeing bills killed. So she just told them, "I'm not going to vote for this," and they said, "Okay, so we're not going to present it to this committee." And that happened 2 years in a row. And
So to understand what this bill would be
Mhm.
about is what would it essentially require in respect to education in public schools if it were to be passed? What would it require of the schools?
So individual schools would have to present this video in the classrooms in grades 6 through 12, wherever they have a reproductive health curriculum. Now, there is a parental opt-out. Anytime anything has to do with reproductive health, individual parents can opt their children out of it. So that would continue to be available. However, individual schools throughout the state would basically have to make this coursework available or this video available in this particular type of um, curriculum, which is basically reproductive health, which most schools in grades 6 through 12 do provide. So that's what basically all schools do provide it. So that's what it would do. And I mentioned abortion because when we were in the legislature, there were a lot of people, a lot of like leftists who came and testified they're organized, and so it's the ACLU, it's uh, the Human Rights Campaign, the LGBT organizations, which is an LGBT organization, they all came out and testified against it. Now, what they have in common is that they don't want children to be informed that the fetus is not just a clump of cells, that it is a human being. So they're very offended by anything, even though the video does not mention abortion at all. They're very offended by it because they think it will cause children or students, when they grow up, to become less likely to want to have an abortion because they know it's a human being. It's very sick, but that's basically what their opposition is about. And they screamed and yelled in the different committees, and a lot of them showed up. And unfortunately, I mean, it still passed the House, but I guess that affected how the some of the senators, specifically Claudiud, looked at it, and I guess she was influenced by what the pro-abortion people were saying about it because she's more on the left herself. She voted against the 6-week abortion, the heartbeat bill, which limits abortion after 6 weeks of gestation. So basically, we as an organization decided after it failed both sessions to go ahead and try to get it done in individual school districts. So we first went to Sumter County last year and asked them to do it, and they have already implemented it in their curriculum. It is now available in Sumter County schools. The only thing is that they had to still get permission from the State Board of Education because anything that has to do, well, the State Department of Education, because anything that has to do with reproductive health still needs state approval. It doesn't have to be the legislature. It could also be the state Department of Education. So that's right now available in Sumter County schools. It is part of their curriculum. The same thing with Jefferson County schools. We went to them and they did it too. And now we're going to more school districts now that the current school year is over. We want to try to get it into as many schools as possible before the new school year starts.
What do you think is the best way that a voter could then frame a question for state reps and those running for Senate to
Well,
ensure that they vote in the right people?
that's why you need to ask specific questions. I mean, ask them specifically about this bill, right? Ask them, would you support? And by the way, the Baby Olivia video, the way the bill in the legislature was phrased, it did not mention Baby Olivia, although that's a video that's out there. And the question came up, and the sponsor said that it would be a different video that also shows fetal development, because I guess of some of the objections from the left. And that's fine as long as it's a video that shows fetal development, we are okay with it. So it doesn't have to be Baby Olivia. So the question would be not Baby Olivia, it would be, would you support a bill that requires a fetal development video to be shown to students in grades 6 through 12? Specifically ask that question, and then find out where the candidates stand. But we already know that one candidate down in Miami is against it. So we're not recommending
Voting for
her.
that person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned off camera that you wanted to talk a little bit about Charlie Kirk. How does that tie
Yes.
in?
So there was another bill in the legislature this year. As you know, Charlie Kirk, it's been almost a year now. It's 9 months since, I'm sorry, yes, since September of 2025. I believe that's 9 months or 10 months.
10 months.
So it's 10 months since he was assassinated. And and it was a very traumatic experience for a lot of people that felt that he was killed because of his Christian beliefs. You have Christian beliefs, I have Christian beliefs, and the idea that somebody, because they're expressing their Christian beliefs, deserves to be killed is a shocking thing. And so there was a lot of support for him because he was killed. Specifically, in his particular case, he was killed by somebody who was living with a trans, or somebody who considers themselves transgender, because he spoke about the biblical truth that a woman can't become a man and a man can't become a woman because the Bible says God created the male and female, right? And so he was killed by somebody who was living with a transgender person that was offended by him saying this. Now, the really disturbing part was the reaction from the Democrats and how you saw it. they've celebrated it online, and I mean, did videos and how happy they were. That was the really disturbing part to all of us, because that means that, okay, it's the Democrats want us dead. They basically feel like if we disagree with them, we should be dead. We don't even deserve to be alive, right?
Well, they
That's how they
essentially send
feel.
a message that they support assassinations of people that they disagree with.
Correct. So actually, when I went to the Tallahassee, it was the same type of people that were coming up and speaking and testifying against it, and it was like just a huge crowd of people that basically slandered Charlie Kirk. They distorted all of his quotes, and then even worse, the Democratic representatives and senators, right, the sitting Democratic senators and representatives, they doubled down on their hatred, not realizing that it was, or maybe they did, that it was the same hateful rhetoric that led to his assassination in the first place. And rather than apologizing, they're doubling down. So that was really disgusting to see that happen. Like, and they didn't even like say, "Oh well, we don't think he was he deserved to be assassinated," but they just launched right into the attacks, the disgusting attacks. So it was
Well,
really horrible to see.
some were actually also saying that he put it upon himself, which is a whole other level of
Right,
disturbing mindset.
right. Yeah, so anyway, we did testify for it, and it passed the House. It went over to the Senate, and it passed all the Senate committees, but then it was blocked from getting from a floor vote because Kathleen Passidomo, the rules chair, decided not to even have a vote on it without any explanation. She just didn't even allow she substituted her own judgment for the judgment of basically the entire state and said, nope, this isn't coming to the floor. So unfortunately, it did not get a vote. It was not approved by the legislature.
But it's something you're
So
continuing to work on from the Christian Family
yes,
Coalition.
correct.
It's not that
So
just because it died this time doesn't mean that you have stopped working on it, correct?
correct. So the same kind of thing that we did with baby Olivia, going to individual counties, we're doing the same with the Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance, because that's what it would have created. It would have created a Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance on October the 14th, which is his birthday. That's what the bill would have done. It would have created October 14th as the Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance in the state of Florida. But individual counties are still free to pass resolutions that do the same thing, right? So actually last year, Marion County did it shortly after he was assassinated, and they passed the first Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance on October the 14th in the state of Florida. But a lot of other counties hadn't done it or didn't do it yet. I guess they were hoping that the state would. But we have begun going to individual county commissions and asking them to, in their county, declare a Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance. Gilchrist County, I went to recently, couple of months ago, and asked them to do it, and they did. And then actually there was one lady in the audience that spoke out against it, and then she confronted me after the vote when the county commission decided to approve it, and she confronted me, and I said, well, if do you believe that Charlie Kirk deserved to be assassinated? And she said, yes.
That
This
is
is the
disturbing.
attitude
I
of
mean, what kind of mindset do you have when you actually encourage assassinations of people that you're opposed to?
it's the Democratic
It,
mindset, sadly,
it's
right
a
now. That's
democratic
yeah.
mindset, but it is also the mindset of criminals.
Yes, correct.
You have to have a
So,
fundamental criminal mindset to be of
hmm.
that perspective. John, anything else that you would like people to know about?
Yeah,
We
if
have
you
two
could
now
just
very important questions.
right.
One, do they support a legislation that pertains to the Baby Olivia videos or similar videos to be taught
Fetal
in
development.
schools,
Hmm.
fetal
Yes.
development, and one about the Charlie Kirk bill that you are still working on. Anything
Well,
else that
yes.
you would like to voters to seriously consider before they vote for one candidate or the other?
Yeah, actually, this is something that they need to look not only the state legislature, but also, county commissioners and school board members that they're voting for, and ask them if they support both these things. In the case of the Charlie Kirk, I forgot to mention one thing is because counties are usually in charge of their library systems, and Charlie Kirk actually wrote 7 books in his short lifetime. So we're also asking county commissions to have to instruct their library directors to do a week-long display of his books. And actually, I'm sorry, Gilchrist County already agreed to do that. And Sumter County, I believe, is also working on that as well. So that's basically as we're looking to vote in the August 18th election, ask both your candidates for legislature and your local candidates for county commission, for school board, and for maybe city council as well, these questions, because it's very important that we do not get Republicans in office that are really of the left, and that we definitely ask them what they're for. And if there's a conservative Democrat that supports these, then we're not a partisan organization. But unfortunately, the Democratic Party is becoming far left. But yes, we would support that as well. So that's basically what we would ask people to do when they're voting in this election.
Excellent. Thank you so much, John, for being part of We the People podcast show, new show that was intentionally to be aired twice a week, but because of so many requests that I've had since I initiated this, it looks like we might actually have shows almost once a day. They're going to be airing on the 21st, the 22nd, that's the first show, and that's at 4 o'clock. And so far, we have one scheduled per day at 4 o'clock for each day. So thank you so much for being part of this. We look forward to having you back on the show to discuss more issues that voters need to pay attention to.
Can I just say one more thing? Because I
Yes,
forgot
I'd
to.
like I'd like to
If anybody
for
wants to
before
reach me,
we end, I'd
oh,
like
sorry.
you to tell people how can they get in touch with
Yes.
Christian Family Coalition? How can they reach out, donate to you, as well
Mhm.
as volunteer for the work or setting up chapters perhaps in their local areas?
Okay.
Because I think that's very important that we get
Yes.
this in the video as well. Please.
Right. So we do have a website. It's cfcflorida.net, and that has information on how they can donate and get involved. But if they wanted to reach me specifically, if they're working on any of these issues like baby Olivia or Charlie Kirk and trying to approach their county commissions or school boards on those, they can contact me at 954-515-2084 or via email at John Labriola. That's all one word. John, JOHNLAB as in boy, RIOLA at cfcflorida.net.
Excellent. Thank you so much, John, and God bless. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on our show. And as I always say, it is so critical that people like, subscribe, and share, and encourage other people to do the same thing. Follow the information, share it with your community, educate the voters, and continue to watch our show. Thank you so much. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. You too.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.